Yo, we've stopped.
Why?
Stretch our legs.
Meet back here.
Careful, Bella.
Mum, it's a country town. What's gonna happen?
Put your hands together for the ex-captain, Matty Simmons, ladies.
Max, what is that?
Take cover! Danny!
Hey, is that your daughter? You're gonna go!
See you. She's behind us!
The life that we had is gone. These guys are here to stay. If we want this back, we're gonna have to do something.
We've got people here looking to us to leave. I want to know what your plan is. My plan? And you promised you'd help me find my family.
An occupying force can be brought to its knees if you have the will and the drive to fight.
Hello and welcome to this What Do You Want to Watch? Spoilercast. I'm Ashley Hobley. Joining me today, John Blight.
You talk about aliens and how the way they get off my planet. Damn
yes,
dirty
in
aliens.
celebration of the release of Occupation Rainfall, Dylan and I have gone back and watched the original Occupation film, released in 2018, directed and written by Luke Sparke, starring Dan Ewing, Temuera Morrison, Stephanie Jacobsen, Rhiannon Fish, Zachary, Garred, Izzy Stevens, Charles Terrier, Charles Mesure, Trystan Go, Felix Williamson, Jacqueline McKenzie, Aaron Jeffery, and Bruce Spence. A group of misfits form a homegrown resistance army after their small Australian country is enslaved by an extraterrestrial force. Together they form the Human Rebellion in a battle for the survival of their group. Dylan, how did you get through this film? Because I know you're lactose intolerant, and this movie is cheesy as fuck.
Wow. That's a good one. I pay that. That's a good joke. I didn't rate it very high. I can't remember what I gave it on Trakt. Something rather low. But I gotta be honest, I kind of appreciate, like, you could tell they really wanted this to be good. Like, I don't know, there's something sort of wholesome about the movie that I couldn't hate it because I could tell there was a lot of, love coming into this movie, and it was just bigger in scope than they had the money for or the time for, and these sorts of things. Honestly, I feel like this just would have been better as, like, if you was to pitch me this today and it'd be like, where should I take this thing? Who's the director? Fucking what's his name? Luke Sparke, right? Luke Sparke comes to me. He's like, I've got this idea for this alien thing. What should I do with it? I'll be like, you should pitch that to Stan as a 10-episode original series and go make it over there, because I feel like that's where this would have suited a lot better, and you could have done it, especially because, like, one of the biggest problems with this movie is that there's just not enough time for these characters, and there's so many characters in the team, like 8 or something like that in the group, and they're all sort of having their own dilemmas, problems, things, but you barely get any time for them to sort of go through the motions of dealing with what they're going through, and especially to the stage where there's several time skips in this movie, like skips ahead a couple weeks here, skips ahead a couple months there, like all this sort of stuff. The fact that the main character gets, like, nearly killed at one stage, and
He goes into a coma,
and that's revolved relatively fast. That I know it was just too fast, like, given
too furious.
Given the weight of everything that was happening.
But then he comes out of the coma really quickly as well.
Yeah. Too fast, too furious, in and out of the coma. The alien designs I thought were kind of cool. They remind me of, like, Battlestar Galactica's Cylons a bit, I guess, to a degree. Like, I said to a degree. I guess so. Yeah, just not the actual aliens, the armor. Yeah, not what is underneath. What's actually happening?
They weren't the most threatening looking things.
No. I'll give this. So I've watched this tomorrow. When is it? Tomorrow when the war ends? When the war began. When the war began, right. So that movie is worse than this movie. If you want to, like, scale to Australian invasion movies, I'm going to say that this is better than that. Because although this is not great. I think a lot of the problems fall down to it just being bigger than it deserves or should have ever tried to be. I think the core cast I enjoyed, and I enjoyed them. I didn't hate them, whereas I hated the characters in Tomorrow when the war never began, or whatever the hell that movie was called. So props to that. So yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's barely okay, but it's okay.
Yeah. Like I said, it is very cheesy and like on the nose. It's just okay, I think is the best word to describe it. There's a lot of odd choices, and obviously budgetary ones, I assume, to a certain extent, but you know, there's certain character development and that kind of stuff that's a bit all over the place. And moments that just kind of come out. There didn't seem like there was much of a point, I feel like, going of the story. What was the, or at least not one that we haven't seen before, you know?
They're trying to save their planet. I mean, that's the whole point.
Yeah, but what is it trying to say about saving the planet? Like, you know?
I don't know. It's literally supposed to be a cheesy.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be like any other movie.
It was very surface level, you know?
Yeah. It's just supposed to be an Australian swing on War of the Worlds or some shit, basically.
Yeah. You know? Yeah, there's not... it's fine. There's some odd stuff, like Temuera Morrison, like full on going cam on that one alien. Like, everybody just kind of sitting.
He really went ham. Quite violent. I was like, what's this movie rated?
Yeah. You know, and then the baby getting born in the rain, the mother dying during childbirth, Temuera Morrison accidentally murdering the guy who's trying to kill the baby because he's the pregnant woman because she's screaming because she's giving in labor. There's so much use of slow motion in this film. It's like you could have cut a good 10-15 minutes out if you had just played at full speed.
So one interesting aspect I want to bring up is, according to what I could find, it says it made 22,000 at the box office worldwide.
Yeah. And
it got a sequel 2 years later.
The only thing I can think of is it did well on some sort of streaming service. It was bought by Saban, who, in my knowledge, are best known for Power Rangers. So, you know, and then we're acquired by Walt Disney. So technically, this is a Disney film.
Yeah, sure.
So, you know, they'll make a sequel out of anything. They'll stick it on Disney Plus. Coming to Star soon.
Well, since the catalyst was because Rainfall just released this week, as of the release of this podcast. Well, no, last week. Sorry, last week when this comes out. Do you want to watch Rainfall, the sequel?
Not really. No. I don't know if I could bring myself to sit through, just be solely focused on this film. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like a film that would be best suited while doing something else. Which sounds terrible to a certain extent.
I kind of want to watch it. It's got Jason Isaacs.
You've got a curiosity.
Ken Jeong, bunch. I think there's a bunch of random people.
It looks like they've recast
Vince Colosimo, or what?
They've recast the Amelia role.
Not Cole Smith, did they?
Yeah. So in this one,
yeah, they did.
In the original, it's played by Stephanie Jacobsen. In this sequel, it's played by Jet Tranter.
There you go.
Yeah, couldn't afford.
I mean, the second one has a much more interesting cast.
Yeah, any cast looks more interesting when you stick Jason Isaacs and Ken Jeong in it.
And I know the initial critic reviews have kind of been a little bit mixed, but the fact that there's some good reviews
gives you
surely
hope. Yeah,
gives me some sort of hope. And I gotta be honest. I mean, to a degree, I feel sometimes when I watch Australian stuff, I'm a little bit more lenient than maybe if it was just an American random Netflix movie I watched or something. Like,
yeah,
I want to like Australian movies.
Like that a little bit.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, I want to like it. Like, any Australian movie, I just kind of, I want it to be good. I want to be able to, you know, find a really great Australian movie and just you know, be able to go, this is the shit. Like, yeah, fucking everyone should watch this. So, but you know, you can't. You can't lie that hard or try. You can't turn a shit into a piece of gold to that extent, you know. But I guess I kind of did enjoy Temuera Morrison in this sort of weird dad role, which again I feel like that they set up so many things for that character where they're like, you know, like he was in prison, he got out. Like there's so many things thrown at these characters.
Yeah.
I
think you're right. There's too much thrown in and not enough time to delve into any of it.
Yeah, it would have been so much better as a series where they could have really pulled at all these spreads, because nearly every character has that moment or that thing where someone's like, this person's like this, or like hints at all this stuff, and then they never return to it.
They never return on the fact that Dan Ewing, the main character, has been taking antidepressants this entire time.
For the entire time, yeah. And there's lots of weird stuff like that where, yeah, it definitely feels like, so it feels like Luke Sparks sat down to write this, and he's done what you do when you write anything to a degree, which is
just throw everything at it.
Well, no, like you plan out your characters, and you know he's wrote backstory for all the characters, but then instead of, you know, being like, well, I can't actually fit all of this into a movie, but because he grew so attached to the characters and the backstory he's wrote for them, he chose to sort of make sure to mention it all at some stage in a movie, but to a degree that kind of doesn't help, because as an audience member, I'm just like, we're not going back to that. Like, we're not touching on that again. Like, what happened? No. What the fuck just happened there? It would have been a lot better to kind of, you could have kept the 8 members or however many it is of the core group, and like 3/4 of them would have just been better as sort of one note, stereotypical characters of some sort, you know, just have the ditzy blonde, have the fucking jock guy, you know what I mean? Like, just have one note characters, and then choose your 3 that you want to focus on, be that the main guy, Dan Matt Simmons character players, yeah, and then Temuera Morrison's character, and then Amelia, I guess, pick them as your 3 or whatever, and then maybe that other guy, the best mate who dies at the end, as your 4th or something like that. But then
yelling, "Look after my daughter."
Yeah,
like for 20 minutes, it felt like, before he actually gets killed.
Yeah, he's gonna. I hope when I watch the sequel, and you're not going to, if they ever bring it to my cinema, or I have to wait until VOD or something like that. But, you know, I'll watch it. I'll make sure to tell you if he's actually looking after his daughter, or you let him down. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I will say my favorite shot in this film is one of the most ridiculous and out of.
Is it when they're coming over the trench with the Australian flag?
No.
No, okay, that's
this guy with a bazooka or whatever shoots down and hits one of the aircraft, and he turns to the camera and does like a thumbs up.
yeah. I didn't think it was actually it wasn't actually to the camera though, was it? It was just meant to be
sure it was to the camera.
I mean, there's someone behind him, right? I mean, it wasn't like a random 4-4 break.
I'm pretty sure it was.
I don't know, maybe.
It's like, yeah.
It's bad acting at that stage.
You didn't have to look straight down the camera.
Yeah, you didn't have to look straight down the fucking lens, mate.
Like maybe if there was someone else in the shot, but no. It works.
I was going to say, also, when I think about this movie, it is really just all over the place. Because you think back to the way this movie started with the whole, you know, introduce your characters in the small town, you know, you got the family on the road trip, and she's like, that's what I'm saying. This movie would have been so much better as a TV show, because imagine the first season could have just stretched the initial evasion out over so many more episodes and told more mini stories than that. And
like, there could have been like scouts and like preparing and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like
from the alien side. Yeah,
like you could have got so much
more out of it.
Yeah, this should have been a TV show. That's my review.
All right. That brings us to the end of this What Do You Want to Watch Spoilercast. If you want to hear more What Do You Want to Watch Spoilercast, subscribe to this feed. Go to explosionhour.com to find all our news, reviews, podcasts, all that good stuff. If you want to help us out, leave us a review either on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser, or tell your friends about the show. Tell them about that we're doing Spoilercast now. This is a regular thing. Every 2 weeks, at least one Spoilercast coming out. So let us know either on Twitter, which you can find at explosionhour.com/Twitter, or by going to our Discord, explosionhour.com/Discord. What movies should we do Spoilercast for going forward?
You're getting 2 this week, by the way. Look for an Earwig and Witch one in the next couple of days.
I know. It's going to be interesting.
All right,
thank you.
It's going to be a great week for Spoilercast, but we are doing 2. So
We are. All right. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.